Hello everyone, my name is Claire McConnell and you're watching the Broadway Vlogs. Hello, today we are here with Natalie Weiss, you just celebrated your 6th anniversary, right, for breaking down the Riffs. And you've done multiple different things that we will talk about today. So first of all, let's talk about your career and how you got started in theater.
How I got started. I did a production of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs when I was 5. No, I mean, I trained in musical theater at Penn State. I graduated, I started auditioning, and all of my theater jobs have been from auditioning. All of my teaching and concert gigs have been from my YouTube presence, luckily. Word of mouth, people seeing videos, but any theater stuff I've auditioned for. In recent years, more so offered from people seeing videos.
And how is your education, you just said you went to Penn State, how has your education influenced you today through how you teach or how you learn, etc.?
I trained in musical theater, so I learned acting, singing, dancing. I learned a lot about acting through song. I implement that a lot into my coaching. I took a little bit from each teacher, not one specific method. I think whatever works for you, you should take with you. And I take a little bit of everything. In terms of technique, I learned a lot about how to open up my head voice and how to balance my chest and my head voice. And I came into school kind of singing to a certain point and then flipping into a head voice. So I learned how to balance that out with my voice teacher's training. And using visuals of my own that I've discovered after graduation. Yeah.
Awesome. So now that you've been in this business for a while, what is one thing that you wish you knew before you got into this career?
I guess one thing would be that somebody would have told me to listen more, observe more, and not have to be the person that's I tried not to be annoying with questions, but I'm very inquisitive and I like to learn. And so I think the best advice would be to sit back and observe, because a lot of times when I teach, I notice the people in the back that never said a word because they're present and not I notice people that are annoying in a loud way as opposed to they were very respectful and they're paying attention. So definitely to be quieter and observant. And if you're understudying, they don't teach you this in college. If you're understudying a role, even if you're practicing quietly, it looks like you're showing off. So don't do that in public. No, do it at home. Don't practice in front of people. Just show up and do your job. And yeah.
Okay, so we just said something about breaking down the riffs. How did that start?
Okay, so people had taught me certain riffs that I thought were too hard, and they broke it down for me. Where they're think about it in sections. So one of those was episode 2, Lead the Way. I remember hearing this riff and I was like, I could never do that. And somebody was like, well, think about it in sections. So that was in my brain. And then I remember the Jasmine Sullivan home riff that I remembered, and I could do it fast, but I never knew how to do it slow. So when Beyonce's Halo came on the radio in 2012, my friend asked me, how many notes are in that? Oh my God, I can't do it. And I said, let me count the notes. And I realized that the 5th note was sort of skipping a note in the scale. So I said, tilt your head on the 5th note. And she was like, that works. And I sort of made it like a pop singing for dummies and was going to do a busted video with just, hey, it's me on, what's this app? Photo Booth? Yeah, the photo booth. Yeah. Where you're just going to film yourself and do a bunch of riffs. And I just decided to do one. And then I was coming up with titles for the series, which wasn't even going to be a series. It was going to be figuring out the riffs, breaking down the runs. And then the runs sounded
yeah.
I decided to come up with that title. And then all those little interval shortcuts whole step, tilt your head, they just kind of stuck. And then it's been really fun to hear random strangers do them to me.
So what is the hardest riff that you've ever had to break down?
Probably the latest episode 34 with Avery Wilson. I still can't do it. I can't figure it out. I mean, I did it, but I don't do it like him. Yeah, sometimes you gotta lose. I forget. See, I'm combining riffs now. I'm 2 episodes. I don't remember.
So, can you tell me about your experience doing The Greatest Showman?
So Benj and Justin and I went to college the same year, Pasek and Paul. They were at Michigan. I was at Penn State, and we all had mutual friends. So we met in college, and then they were writing, and we just graduated the same time. So when they were starting out, they would ask me to do demos, and I always thought they were great. And whenever they would call me, I'm like, of course, of course. And then the good news is they use their favorite singers a lot, so they're very loyal. And then they once emailed like 4 of us and said, Hugh Jackman movie, are you free? And we're like, excuse me, yes. And that was like 4 or 5 years ago. And we've just been a part of the process ever since. Being in the room, hearing the changes was so interesting, knowing like all these amazing songs are being written and then they're being cut and then they're being replaced by other writers. And then the opening number changed like 4 times. And it's just so interesting knowing what they choose in the end. And just being around the most talented people you can ever imagine, and you feeling like, and this is not like self-deprecating, this is like a fact, I'm like the slowest riffer of everyone around me. Like we had to go into the studio and do riff passes, and I was like, I'll sit this one out. Like you're just around amazingly talented people, so it's crazy.
Awesome. And you're also a part of the virtual ensemble of the TonyWinning Dear Hansen.
Grammy winning.
And Grammy winning. What is that like?
Again, same writers. They're very loyal. I mean, it's an amazing show. I'm partial. But I did the 2 recordings for Waving Through a Window and You Will Be Found and didn't know anything about the plot before I saw it. So I was like surprised at the twist when I saw it 2 years ago. First of all, it's amazing because, you get those residual checks every 6 months, even though you're not on the Broadway. But, it's just like two amazing things that happened the same year that I just happened to be a part of.
That's awesome. Okay, So you just recently got to work with the amazingly talented students at the Jimmy Awards. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the Jimmy Awards have been like, I've watched the videos. I was at the Jimmys like 3 years in a row, got to go to the after parties and meet the nominees. And I'm just so blown away by the talent that getting to coach them was like my dream, because they're already amazing and they just need like little tweaks and direction. So I felt like a proud mom, and it was just so exciting. And I don't understand how you can be that talented that young. I certainly had no idea what was going on.
I had fun watching your Instagram stories throughout the couple days. And plug, we will be interviewing some Jimmy nominees coming up this week. So stay tuned for that.
I don't know how they pick the winner. I really don't.
Oh, they're all amazing.
Yeah.
So awesome. Okay. Who or what inspired you to become the performer you are today?
Initially, it was Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston when I was 8 years old. 8 or 9, very specific memories of singing Hero, and then singing the Bodyguard soundtrack was my entire life. I was introduced to pop concerts very early. My parents took me to Billy Joel and Madonna at age 5, which was probably inappropriate. And then, like, later on in life, Jessie J, Beyonce, so many I can't think of. And then just, like, musical theater actors. Victoria Clark. Just amazing performers. But it started with those 2.
Awesome. Okay, so now we have a couple questions from people who asked us questions via the Twits or Instagram. So someone asked, what is your favorite show / do you have any dream roles?
My favorite shows are Legally Blonde, The Last 5 Years, Next to Normal, Bright Star, Dear Evan Hansen. Dream roles, Kathy in The Last 5 Years. I never got to play Elphaba, so I never got to go on, so I'd say Elphaba still, probably. Vivian in Legally Blonde it's fluffy. It's not like a big part, but I love that show.
Someone asked, do you accept fan mail, and if so, where?
Oh, that's such a good question. I did have a P.O. box, but now I don't, and I don't know what to do about it. So how about they just, I'll just plug my website's under development now, so they can go to natalieweiss.net, and they could maybe apply for coaching and then say they want fan mail, and I'll figure it out.
Awesome. Do you have any advice for aspiring performers?
I would say keep training. You never stop learning. Be nice to everyone because you never know who you're going to work with, and everyone knows everyone. Mm-hmm. And make sure if you have anything else you could possibly do that, because it's a really hard business and you have to want to do this. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to be a chemist, so
good second choice. Good second choice. All right. Well, that's all of the questions that I have for today. Thank you, Natalie, for joining us. And you can follow Natalie on all the links below. I'll put down all of her social media and her website, her new website. Okay. Is there anything else you would like to plug?
I coach privately. I'm a little swamped right now, but in New York City, I do Skype occasionally. I'm doing Chess the Musical at Penn State, where I went to school, in a month or so. Have a couple trips planned, not announced, in terms of concerts and guest speaker events coming up, which are cool. And my website's going to be up in a month, hopefully.
Awesome.
Brand new.
Yay.
I'm working on an online course.
Oh, cool.
So it's in the works. Keep tabs on my social media and my website.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
They say there's always magic.